Hey everybody, welcome back and happy Thanksgiving weekend. Ruthie is running again. Rebuilt the distributor and, well, did a few other things too. You might be able to see there's some new wiring in the junction block there. I think I mentioned in the last video that was all junk. It needed to be replaced. So that's an easy wiring harness to replace. Haven't put the interior back together yet, or well, the dash. It's just a few things to quote unquote put back together. You know, nothing's real difficult here. You can see it's just got to put it back in the dash. It's no big deal. So now that the old girl is running again and running just like she was before, I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull that oil pan like I discussed earlier. I need to know the health of this engine, and a big indicator of that, and well, to really decide what's going to happen going forward from here is the kind of shape these bearings are in, and see if I can figure out something on that rear main leak. See if I can do something about that. So I'm going to get the oil drained out and get started here. Now that I'm under the car. And the best thing about something like a car like this, a Model A, is that you don't even really have to put it on a jack to do this stuff. The car sits plenty high enough to do this stuff. It's kind of convenient, you know, honestly. But anyway, now that I'm under the car, you can see that front seal is leaking too, which doesn't surprise me in the least. So anyway, let's get this oil plug out. See what we got here. Come on, that is a long-winded dude. That doesn't look terrible. Black, but that's not a big surprise either. Oil. I don't know. I don't see any antifreeze or water in it, but just goo. So I think it's okay. I think we're good to go. While that pan is draining, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of these oil pan bolts loose. Make sure my racket's going the right direction. If you haven't invested in a cordless ratchet by this point, you're wasting your time, because they just make it so much easier, especially doing a job like this. Not that it's real difficult. You can do it with a ratchet, no problem. But why not make it easier on yourself when you can, right? Kind of like this ratchet because it's an older one. It's the Mac Tools BRS 038. It's kind of outdated ratchet now. But I like it because the head speed is fairly slow, which, especially when you're doing an operation like this here, where you really want to try everything you can not to damage anything. Ooh, I may have to figure out something different there. I like the slow head speed. So anyway, I'll get the rest of these out and then I'll bring you back because I'm going to be in the way of the camera here and you won't see anything anyway. There's one guy right there. That guy's giving me a little trouble. Just can't get to it with a, there you go. Can't get to it with a 3/8 chrome. It's just a little too thick to get in there, and I think that the motor mounts are shot and that the engine's just sitting down. But I can get up there with a 1/4-inch chrome. So that's really the only problem I've run into so far. This is something that I should mention before I get all the oil pan bolts out here, and then it becomes an issue. On the right side of the block, you take this fitting out. This is, somebody had an oil pressure gauge in here at one time or something from the looks of it. But you pull that out. I'm going to try to do this one-handed here. I threaded it together, you know, so you don't lose anything. Because if I don't thread it together and do that, I'm going to lose it. Okay, well, there was no way I could do that with one hand covered in oil. But anyway, you pull that fitting out. You put this fitting here in. I got this from Snyder's also. I really like dealing with those guys. Thread this in. Get it threaded in there the rest of the way. And what this does is it holds your oil pump in place. Because there's nothing holding your oil pump in place. I guess you had to be there. So anyway, you thread that in, and you thread this convenient little handle. You thread it in there, and it pins the oil pump in place. Because when you pull the pan, otherwise when you pull the pan, the oil pump will come with it. Because there's nothing holding it in there except a spring. That's a good thing to know before you pull the pan. Because if it does come out of there, then guess what? You've got to retime everything. And I think we're finally getting there. Okay, yeah, we're in there and getting pretty tight. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now the oil pan, or the oil pump, is pinned in place. It's not going anywhere, so let's get this pan off. I almost forgot to mention, before we pull the pan off, we got to pull this inspection cover, because you can't get the pan down until you get these bolts out of the way. So, got the oil pump pinned, get this inspection cover out of the way, and then we'll pull the pan. Well, and there you have it. The pan is off. As you can see, I found a bunch of moisture in the pan, which isn't a good thing. And actually, if you look up here, you can see it right there. In that, oops, that's more in the way than what it's worth. There is a whole bunch of moisture up in that timing cover. So something's going on up there. And that may have been due to that water pump leaking as bad as it did. I've got gaskets. I can pull that timing cover or front engine cover off and have a look at it inside, see if maybe there's something going on there. I don't think it's anything outrageous, but okay, we'll see. So, you know, that one there's good and tight. Number one's good and tight. Number two, there's a little movement in it. That's not terrible. Number three's got a little movement in it, but not awful. Number four's got a lot of movement. So I'm going to be pulling those caps and have a look at them. See what we can find. So, there you have it. And the oil pump is down, but there's a good reason for it. When I dropped the pan, the tool to hold the oil pan, or to hold the oil pump in place, it did its job, but the top of the oil pump decided to break off at some point in its life. This is part of the housing. So the whole pump came with the pan. But that's okay, because now I would have never known that if I hadn't pulled this pan. So we're going to be ordering an oil pump too. But I don't think it's too bad. I've seen a lot worse. Let's see on these cam lobes. You can see a little bit of rust on them there. I mean, you know, like I've said before, I have no idea just how long this car sat. I have absolutely no idea. It seems like I can't stay in the light here, but just the fact that it runs at all is a small miracle. A testament to very, very good engineering and toughness of these old engines. Still, I mean, I had it running, I don't know, a couple hours ago. So, so anyway, I think I'm going to do a little more investigating here and see what I can find. I'm probably going to pull that number 4 cap and see what we find back there. I'll let you know what we find. Well, as you can see, that's number 4. And it's not looking good. It looks like that Babbitt's worn pretty thin. Scoring on the journal. And unfortunately, there's no shims in there. Bottom side doesn't look much different. The cap. So, now the question is, where do we go from here? There's no one in this area that really knows how to cast Babbitt or pour Babbitt. So, what do? Do we have it? Do I have it machined for insert bearings? Do I put a flathead V8 in it like I would really like to do? What do I do from here? I hate this. That's a real letdown right there. So, and I was going to pull the other ones, but I don't really see much reason to if that's the way that one looks. So, I can't imagine the other ones really look much different than that. I mean, it's not that the rod is in great shape, and the crank can be polished, that's no big deal, but it's more that Babbitt being worn so thin. You can see right there just how thin that Babbitt is. You're starting to see the rod itself through the Babbitt. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll do from here. I hate this. That just really takes the wind out of my sails. I hate to say it, but it is a 100-year-old car, or nearly a 100-year-old car. And it gave me a valiant effort, but that's just not going to last. So I guess we'll weigh our options from here. Before I finish up here, I wanted to show you real quick what I was talking about with this oil pump. That's what I mean right there. You can probably see right there where it broke off at some point in time. Who knows when, but I just wanted to clarify that real quick. The drip pans look good in there, where the dippers pick up their oil and sling it up. So the pan itself, it's not too bad yet. Well, I have my flashlight on me. You can probably see sludge down in there, but it's not terrible. So anyway, like I said, we'll figure out what happens from here. Do we put a flathead V8 in it? Do I try to find another banger? Do I put a 2.3 in it? Because I've always wanted to do that too. Put a 2.3 out of like a Ranger and a T5 in a Model A. Who knows? We'll make that decision over the next few weeks, and then we'll see what happens from there. So once again, I appreciate everyone who watches these videos, especially those who watch them to the end. And I'll let you know what happens. Thanks again, and have a good day.